about radical Islam. Why is that? You don't hear about radical Buddhist. You don't hear about, I mean, think about it. Use the little bit of brains that God gave you and think about it. Islam has the only radical element in religion today worldwide. There is nothing that compares to Islam when it comes to violence. Nothing. So I tell you right now, it should be brought before the U.S. courts. Every mosque should be held accountable. If any of its believers from that mosque commit acts of violence connected with the Quran, connected because they are carrying out their belief in the name of Allah, that mosque should be held accountable to U.S. laws for hate crimes. Where does it say in the Quran? Oh, I know. You're going to say, no, it don't say that. Oh, Pastor Wayne, you got the wrong interpretation. You got a bad translation. No, I don't think so. If so, there are millions or billions of people out there that they all have a bad translation. What does it say? Fight those who do not believe until they all surrender, paying a protective tax in submission. Surah 929. Does the Quran not say that? Does it not say that? Does it say that? Yes or no? Does it say that? Yeah, thank you. It says that. It calls for you to fight. It calls for those that truly follow, believe in the Quran, in Islam, to fight all those that do not believe in Islam. It calls you to fight all those non-believers. It calls you to fight against Christians, against Jews, against atheists, against anyone that is non-Muslim. You fight against them. That is a hate speech, and that acts following that teaching is a hate crime. The Quran is guilty of hate speech and a hate crime. Believers, fight in Allah's cause. They slay and are slain, kill and are killed. Surah 9:112. Hate speech. Fight them until all opposition ends and all submit to Allah. Hate speech. Quran 4:91. If the unbelievers do not offer you peace, if they do not leave you alone, if they do not keep their mouth shut, if they do not leave you in peace, kill them wherever you find them. Against such you are given clear warrant. According to this awful book, it says that it allows you, it gives you permission. Under its law, it says you are allowed to kill them wherever you find them. It allows you to do so, and you're a good Muslim. Hate speech, calling for acts of violence, it should be prosecuted. It should be brought before national courts. It should be brought before international courts. Hate speech and hate crimes. 9/11 was a hate crime. Acts around the world committed in the name of Allah, hate crime. You know, in acts of war and times of war, lots of things happen. When we look back in our history, World War I, World War II, places that suffered mass destruction due to the hand of allies or casualties of war. America and other countries, they're still paying to rebuild. They're still investing in areas that they know they had a responsibility in that type of destruction. Where has Islam as a religion As a people, where have they invested? Where have they cried out for forgiveness to the families of 9/11? Where have they given the millions or billions of dollars for rebuilding the World Trade Center? It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. Where do you see imams? Oh, worldwide, we had imams condemning us, condemning our action when we burned the Quran. Matter of fact, the one we burned, it looked just like this one. And when we burned it, people like you, people like your imam here, people all around the world, they're quick to condemn us. They condemn what we did. They condemned us. Where do you condemn Hamas? Where do you condemn Hezbollah? Where do you do that? We got plenty of cameras. Let's go ahead and let's start out the condemnation now. Why don't you go on record? Everybody's quick to go on record. Imams all over the state of Florida, they were quick to go on record to condemn our action. Oh, that violent action of setting a bunch of paper on fire. Whoa. But how about condemning real acts of violence? Where have they condemned Hezbollah? Where have they condemned Hamas? Where have they condemned Al-Qaeda? It don't happen. You don't see it. Why? Because they're not going to. You're not going to condemn it. Matter of fact, what did we hear? We hear throughout the UK, there was a survey done where they asked the Muslims. A survey was done and asked, do you sympathize with the terrorist actions around the world? 24% said yes. 24% says we sympathize with the terrorists. We sympathize with the ones that flew the planes into the World Trade Center. We sympathize with them and their belief. We sympathize. That is a bunch of garbage. You don't sympathize here. You can do any poll you want to. You ask somebody, do you sympathize with somebody like Timothy McVeigh that killed people for whatever he wanted to tag on it, whether it was his belief or for what? You're not going to find any Christian that says, I sympathize with that. We do not sympathize with murderers. We do not say, well, they must have had a just cause. We do not sympathize with that. We do not sympathize with acts of terror. We do not. 24% of the Islamic population, basically a quarter of the population, said yes, we sympathize. The last time we were here, they were waving shoes, throwing bottles, broke through the barricade. For what? You were not here to disagree with what we said. You're not here to disagree. You're here to silence. You do not want to voice your opinion. You do not want to say, I don't agree. You want to silence. It's not going to happen. You want to silence those who speak differently than you? Go back to a Muslim-dominated country. They do that there. We don't do it here. Hate speech. Hate crimes. The Quran, I'm calling for it now. That we get a movement. We start a petition to bring the Quran, the teachings of Islam, before the national court, before world courts, to have it brought, have mosques around America start paying for the acts of violence that are carried out in the name of Islam. Because no matter what you say, no matter what you say, it's what you do that matters. You can say we're not radical, we're not radical, we're not radical. But it's not what you say. It's what you do. We saw last week, here Mayor O'Reilly said it over and over again. There is no radical.